Oh my goodness. Do we have a week for you guys? It is Voices of the PLC, week 3, and we've got a couple contributors, so I'm freaking excited. I'm hyped. This is going to be awesome. I hope you guys enjoy. I don't want to ruin I guess you could look in the description below if you want to see who's going to be talking, because there are chapters, so feel free to pop down there if you want to spoil yourself. But if not, just stay tuned. We've got a couple voices of the PLC coming. You see how that worked out? The name coming into play? That's so freaking cool. All right, but yeah, this is going to be a fun episode. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys in chat. Peace.
What's going on, Pokemon League Championship? This is your host, Mura, aka Ian, here with my first introduction to the PLC Voices podcast, assembly, compilation, whatever it happens to be considered. I am here for our 10th season. So back in the day of the PLCs, during Gen 6, really, I was introduced to Jordan and Aris and everybody through the Pokemon League and floated the idea of a draft league, and then everybody ran with it. And we ran our first season. It went really smooth and quick with only 5 players. Rip Jay, we should have let him in that first week, if I'm being honest. We wouldn't have had a bye week. Everything would have worked out. Sorry about that, Jay. But uh, in this case, we ran it with 5 people and then almost immediately pretty much wanted to run it again. And that's why season 1 and 2 are within the same year of each other. So technically, we're not at our 10th year yet, but the 10th season has been started, and we're all excited to do it. So I've been doing the stream portion and a lot of the hosting portion, and just general background stuff since the beginning of the league. Jordan manages all the sheets and does a lot of the statistics for us. So basically, we run the background stuff. Me, Zach, Jay, Jordan, a couple of the other people in the group do all the background little goings-ons that help the PLC run for all the players and everything. And then at the same time, a lot of times we will play. So I've become very fond of the PLC in the 10 years that we've done it. I mean, as you can see, we've got logos designed and everything on our side. We throw draft parties every year. It's really become a big family. So I'm just here in PLC Voices to say, I love you guys. I love the PLC. I'm glad that we're able to keep this thing going and give you guys a little bit of my take on the season so far. Now, I have floated. We did a double list this year, and I floated that idea. I think back in season 6, it might have even been season 5 or 4. I floated the idea back then because we had hit I think 18 or 19 players that were interested on wave 1. We weren't sure if we were going to have 20 players or not. And we were like, how do we do this? There was a Dexit, we didn't really know how to make all of the players count. So I was like, well, maybe we do a double list, and it got shut down. But I've kept a couple little rulings like that in the back of my head. So when we try new things like asterisk systems and things like that in the season, it's usually something that we've actually workshopped for other seasons or at least discussed before. And then we just, we go through kind of a vetting process of people just shooting my ideas down mostly, and then we actually implement them eventually. And so far, there haven't been too many crazy implementations that went awry. I think the worst thing we ever did was we took Asterisk off of Pokemon and announced it before the end of the wire, and then somebody took advantage of that, and that was just a mistake. So in the future, if we ever took Asterisk off of Pokemon, we wouldn't tell people until after the wire closed, and then we'd be like, next week, the wires, these are free. So, we've done things like that in the past and done different rules, and it's just always fun to see what each season brings. I think that the double list was insanely popular. I had a lot of fun on the draft for it myself, as I always do. And I think that we got a lot of good teams out of it. I think that that's what a lot of the Voices episodes have kind of said. Everybody was excited about about the teams and the way the draft went, and it seemed to be really healthy for the 10th season. So I'm really excited to see how it all plays out in the end with everybody, and just to kind of get a taste of what season 10 has to offer for us. I personally have not been taking it too seriously. I just want to have fun this year. But I am glad to see certain people are taking it really seriously and putting their nose to the grindstone. I know a lot of players are really vying for success this year, so I'm excited to see what people have for us. Now, what I do have is we've got some matches here. Let's see, upcoming matches, right? So let's change this. I'm gonna pull up the week 3 matches, and we can kind of go over them real quick and see if we have any thoughts on who's gonna win what. Right? So let's pull that up here. We've got in week 3 Brian versus Mike. Now that's a huge match. Like Brian is one of the top players for sure. I mean, he's definitely up there in terms of skill. And Mike is the former champion from last year and is one of the Elite Four, as you might consider them. So excellent players going head to head. They also have a bit of a storied past, a little bit of a rivalry in some ways. So that's exciting to see. I think we didn't he fight Brendan last week? Is that the back to back? Is that the game plan? The Brendan Bryan, the double Bs. But it's always fun to see these guys go head to head. So Selina versus Brendan. Hopefully Selina can pull out a W. I know that they have been having a rough start of the season, but Brendan's got a really strong team, probably one of the strongest teams in the draft. So we'll see what happens. Now Corey versus Justin. They're both fairly newer to the competitive scene. Like that, Justin's been around for a while, but he doesn't, or they rather don't pay attention as much. They always kind of go against the grain, do their own thing. And I think both teams here do that. So like Corey does have some really high tier Pokemon on his team. Same thing with Justin this year, but they tend to just like do out of the box strategies. So this will be a really interesting match to see, and it should be recorded. And I'm excited to see that one. Now, Jordan versus Aris, that's a battle of former champions, OGs, and Elite Four members. So that is just hands down going to be probably the match to beat this week coming up. Now, Jay Wade versus Ty. Um, they've both been kind of going back and forth for people's attention this season, so love to see that love triangle work itself out in a battle. Now, SB versus JG, or Sakuna as it's written here. That should be really cool. They both have similar skill sets, and I think that JG has something to prove here. And now Philip versus myself, the first battle of the brothers of the season. Philip and I are brothers. We've battled many times in the past, just friendly and in the PLC. Hopefully, we can get a really good match recorded for the stream. I hope that I win. Personally, sorry, Philip. I'm going to say that I'm taking that one, but we'll see what happens there. Also, back to I forgot to give the predictions on those. So I think Brendan's going to take Selena versus Brendan. I think, no offense, I think Corey's going to take the Justin versus Corey. I think that I'm going Jordan H for the Aris versus Jordan fight, but probably Aris. And then for J Wade versus Ty, I'm going to take J Wade on that one. Now, SB versus Gantz. Don't let me down. I'm gonna give it to JG on that one. Myself versus Phil. I'm gonna take that one for myself. I'm sorry, Phil. Hopefully you can win, but I'm thinking I'm gonna win. Now Dan versus Hobart. This is actually going to be Dan versus Speakman, and that should be a really good match. We're definitely getting a recording of that one, and Speakman should be finishing up his wire pick soon here, and we'll get that taken care of. Now, Zach versus Jalen, that should be a really interesting match. Jalen hasn't seemed to been doing as much EV training potentially. I'm not sure how his sets are working, but hopefully we can work with him or get somebody to work with him this week to try to prepare for Zach, because that's a big player to fight against. And then finally, I think Zach's going to win that one. I'm sorry, Jalen. Bosch versus Jay. Now, Bosch has come into the season as his first season. He's done really well. He had a cool draft strategy. And Jay is a veteran, again, one of the Elite Four members, and I would say that I'm gonna go with Jay on this one, but that's my thoughts for this upcoming week, guys. I am glad we were able to talk and I could submit something for the PLC Voices. I hope I see you guys in the week, and I'll see you on stream. Peace out.
What's going on, PLC and viewers? This is Eray Blitz, and I just wanted to offer my thoughts on the season thus far. This is week 3, the prior 2 weeks that have already taken place. And guys, it's week 3. Like, relax. It's early in the season. It's 12 matches in the regular season. There's still time to rebound if you're 0-2, or if you lose again, you're 0-3 this week. Don't trip. You still got plenty of time to make up and rebound. I offer my advice: trade shit. Have an open mind. I see so many people posting their teams in the trade channel with shit marked out. Like, guys, if you want to really get the full PLC experience, trade. Like, I understand that. Like, let's look at my team here. Cleavor, even though Jay Way he actually wanted to keep Cleavor. He traded it to me. Cleavor is popular. A lot of people want Cleavor, and it's great on my team. However, I'm open to trading it. If someone offer a good enough offer for Cleavor is out the freaking door. Like, nothing is off limits. But just understand, if you want something, that there's going to have to be an equal trade-off for that which you want, versus just marking something completely off and being closed-minded. Like, there's a reason the top players are the top players. Like, they're versatile. They can put anything on their team and make it work. And that's because they have experience using different things. Like, stop being so closed-minded and have fun and experiment. That's how you become a better player. That's how you become a more versatile player. You're able to use many different things. I can pick anything up off the wire and it can integrate it into my team. That's the way you should be able to be as a player in our league, in a way, because you are limited on what you can use. So you don't have a wide range of options to just pick something for team building. So you have to be able to use what you have, very well, and to use what you have along with everything else you have, making sure everything works together, understanding what each Pokemon's role is. And you do that by stepping outside your comfort zone and just trying different things. But that's just my perspective on things like that. I got to where I am skill-wise by just trying different things. And if you don't play enough, then the PLC is the perfect place to just say, hey, I'm going to grab this Dragalge off the wire, and I'm going to see how my team operates with Dragalge, or I'm going to try Orcorio and see how Orcorio works. Just trying different things. And I'm kind of rambling here, but I just wanted to offer at least something. I haven't really been able to create content this season just because of my schedule, but I did want to offer something up before Jordan closed the link. Do I have anything else? I didn't do a team comparison or rate this year because, my lack of content, as I've spoken about previously. However, everybody's team seems to be good. There isn't many teams that I can look at and say those are bad teams. But I think what's happening is there isn't such a gap between the real good teams and the bad teams as it usually are because of the way we did the draft this year. So people just aren't able to, dominate just off the particular monsters they have. Some people have equal stuff, and some people have the same stuff you have. Sometimes you're playing mirrors. So this adds an interesting dynamic to the league that I personally enjoy. It's not oversaturated like VGC, but it does offer it's 4 different size man teams. So you know, and just advice for those, who haven't played me or any of the other side spam users, you might want to have some kind of contingency plan for side spam. It's just four of them going around, and different players use them differently. Like you may be able to contend with this person's side spam, but this person is different, which you're going to find out sooner or later. But thanks for your time. I just wanted to offer some ramble. Jordan, you can chop this up however you see fit. And thank you guys. I look forward to speaking with you again once I have the time to chop something up. And stay tuned. I think I played Jordan this week on Thursday to be exact at 7 p.m. Okay, very specific, but yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully it'll be a good match. Jordan's his team he's actually a side spam mirror. Except he has the male. He has the Hatterene to my Gardevoir. So we're gonna see. It's gonna be interesting. But anyway, thank you for your time, you guys. You guys be good.
After 2 weeks where things didn't go as expected for different reasons, we are now here at PLC Season 10, Week 3. And let's just say I don't feel like there's room for mistakes. Sure, there's 12 weeks, but hey, you gotta start winning early. That's what I think. And yeah, we are here. It is week 3, and we are going up against Brendan, someone whom we have fought quite a bit in the past. And last time, actually, oh yeah, last time we had that insane match where it came down to a draw. But I was still given the match. That was week 9 last season. Crazy match. Obviously, I'm aiming to freaking win and hopefully do better than I did the previous 2 weeks. 2 weeks basically getting 6-0'd and having my every move predicted. Yeah, not fun. But we are looking past that now. It is freaking week 3. We're going up against Brandon. And honestly, I'm hopefully it isn't gonna be as wild as it was last season. That one last season with Palmot living a mighty cleave from, what was it? Iron Boulder. Sorry for the delay there. But yeah, living a mighty cleave from Iron Boulder. I actually think it lived 2, which is insane. I wasn't even max health at that point, and I had Life Orb. And after that, I ended up with knockoff on it, which oddly enough, with no item after booster energy was consumed, did a decent amount of damage. But yeah, I ended up knocking him off to kill him, and then he freaking then my own Palmot died to Life Orb. So it ended in a draw, but I was given the win still. I think how it works is that if I was the first to faint, I would have lost. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about week 3 this season. In Brendan's team, let's just say it is a little scary. Well, a lot scary. That Psychic Terrain combo, not something you want to mess with. On top of that, he has... Honestly, this team is weird because his team has both the Pokemon that outspeeds my entire team, but in Trick Room, should he choose to bring it, he has the Mon that outslows my entire team. So he clearly has the speed advantage. I'm gonna have to dive in and really prep hard and see if I can find a strategy out of this, because I'm not losing 3 weeks in a row. Hell to the no. We ain't repeating Season 6 where I lose every freaking thing. We've gotten better since then, and it is time we freaking prove it. This season is not gonna be a repeat of any season that has happened in the past. Yeah, okay, we're not talking about those 2 first weeks, okay? But hey, we're going up against Brendan, and we hope to win. And hopefully we're gonna have a better time from there. But 1 week at a time. Right now we're focusing on week 3. So yeah, honestly, I'm really excited. Like, I was super depressed after my week 2 loss, but I'm getting back in there and like can't stay depressed forever, right? But yeah, week 3 is coming up. We're going up against Brendan, and hopefully we win. But overall, may the best team win, right? And to everyone else out there, good luck with your matches. This has been Selina, coach of the Area Zero All-Stars, signing off.
What's going on, everybody? This is Corey, Bad Luck's Luxray, as part of the PLC. This is my second season playing. I'm just here to talk a little about what's going down, how I feel, and how this season's going. Just a random fucking few thoughts. I'm going to swear a lot. Hopefully you don't need to censor stuff, so just a heads up. I just have that good old sailor's mouth. So my week 1 went awesome. I had a really good time. And I basically sent out 2 mons and clicked Earthquake, and that was about all I did. And I was like, hell yeah, I am so fucking good at this game. And then I played a Reese week 2, and he did the same thing, but with Expanding Force, except it was in reverse, and it felt really bad. And that's pretty much how my season's gone so far. So the Lord giveth, and the Lord taketh away. Part of that was my own fault, though. Like, honestly, I don't get to play Pokemon as much as I used to. I'm super busy. I work like 72 hours a week, have a bunch of shit going on, but that's no excuse. I need to do better, study up more, remember that, I don't know, psychic terrain stops priority, just little things like that. Anyways, I also told Reese for like 2 weeks in a row that I'd give him the Fox if he beat me, or like I'd give him the Fox next week, and I've checked for like almost 3 weeks in a row, and he's like, ooh, I kind of want this other trade. So if you don't get the Fox at this point, that's on you. I'm just saying that. I just want to point that out there. Other than that, I think there's been some cool shit going on this season. So there's some really good matches on the streams. I think the streams have been going pretty nice, other than, the standard sidetracking and maybe getting a little off topic. But I mean, like, yeah, we know this group. We know the kind of fucking bullshit that we pull, so it's all good. It's all Gucci. I think there's some pretty cool upsets last week. Sorry to talk shit, Zach. I love you. You're awesome. I know we DM and we chat a fair amount, but like, that was an unexpected match. That was really interesting to see. And then also kind of shout out to Jay Wade too. Jay Wade's been chatting with me, and Danny's been chatting with me, and a couple other homies, and we've been discussing a few things. And I've had some players being really kind this season and helping me out. So just so you know, I'm gonna spread a little bit of positivity on the season this year. I'm gonna talk a little bit of pros. Well, we all might talk some bullshit in the chat and kind of be like, I don't know, a little bit of a cunt nugget. People in the DMs have been really nice this season, and that's awesome. Definitely trying to trade more, look at the wire more this season. I think one of the most interesting things to me is just like the batshit crazy wire drops that have going on. Like, week 1, I think we saw Among Us go to the wire. Week 1, we had 2 Metagross on the wire at once. Just some pretty weird drops, some really good solid mons going to the wire. Sometimes for me, I forget, like, at the end of the day, Pokemon is a kid's game, and even though it gets crazy with all the, like, well, I guess weaknesses aren't that bad, but like resistances, and then you're like at a dual type, and you're like, holy shit, I don't know what they resist anymore, and then I have to Google things, and I only have a certain amount of time to Google things, and just familiarizing myself with all the mons that I'm not familiarizing myself with is just, I don't know, it's a lot sometimes, but it at the end of the day, it's a kid's game, but it's complex for a kid's game, and I think one of the biggest things that, probably me more than anybody else, but maybe there's other people who feel the same way as I do, I just overthink everything. Like, going back to the match with Aris and I was just like, ooh, who's so flexible at the festival? I'm flexible. Look at me, I got 2 terrain manipulators. Well, actually, I forgot that Arvaliva was in the back because I'm a dumbass, and that should have been out way. I made so many mistakes that match. That should have been out way earlier. But I was like, ooh, I got 2 terrain manipulators. I got 2 trick room setters. I'm gonna be fine. Even if I get hit, I'm gonna like survive a hit, and I'll throw up trick room, and we're gonna switch the tides. And then everything got O-code, and it was a bad time. So I'm not really trying to record like a long ass voicemail because I'm not as educated as everybody on the Pokemans. But I thought it'd be funny to hear like my perspective a little bit and how the season's going. But I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm having a really fun time, and the chat's been fun, and I've been looking forward to my wires and my transfers each week. I also got my fucking Combat Weasel, which I'm stoked about. And like Combat Weasel's actually good, which is also kind of lit because I have a really bad tendency of really, really liking Mon that are like pretty mid. And like at the end of the day, like there's no reward other than clout for this competition, and I don't really seek out the clout. I don't like losing either, but there's a like really hard line for me sometimes of like using the Mons that I really like and I really enjoy versus like trying to make the absolute best team. So I'm trying to find that balance there. I think another fun thing that I've been doing this year that I don't think anyone's picked up on is if I get a Mon that I had in a previous season, I have been nicknaming it the same nickname from the previous season. So that's really cool too. I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes. I hope everybody else is having a great season. I really appreciate y'all being here. Well, I know that's true too. I do appreciate y'all being here, but I appreciate y'all having me here too. I know that like I'm really busy. I mean, a lot of us are really busy, but it can be hard to schedule matches with me, and sometimes I am not super flexible. So I really appreciate all y'all working with me and taking the time to like help me out and make sure we get our matches in, because at the end of the day, I would rather lose 0-6 to a Reese than to not get to play a Reese at all. So I really, really like that we're all getting our matches in and making the best of everything. Oh, and the last thing, I'm not trying to talk about shit about Hobart. I know he had a lot of shit going on and he had to drop, and that's not his fault. But I was looking at his team with Speakman afterwards when Speakman took over the team, and like I want it because it's good for my team. I got a bunch of dance mons, and we love some choreo dance setups, but also like looking at his team, the entire time I was like reviewing his team and like trying to figure out the trades and stuff, I was just like, what the bird doing?
Yo, what's going on, PLC family? This is the Week 3 podcast. I think, from what it sounds like in chat anyways, I think we're going to have a couple more submissions this week, which is going to be cool. So I'm excited for that. If we've only had 2 submissions, then I was misled. But hopefully we do have a few submissions. So hopefully you've heard a couple people's input before mine. I typically put mine last. So yeah, I'm not going to cover, for that reason, I'm not going to cover full standings, because I was like, what if someone else has already covered full standings and you've already heard it, like maybe even once or twice, and then you get to me, it's like, bro, I know what the standings look like already. You know what I mean? So what I'm going to do is, this is, again, my perspective. So I'm just going to cover like where I'm at in the standings and just kind of, call some attention to things that I feel are attention worthy. But that being said, Reese is leading the pack at 2-0. Dan is in second place at 2-0. I'm actually in third place at 2-0, which is cool. Jay is rounding out the top 4 at 2-0 after getting the forfeit in week 2, and Hobart unfortunately had to drop, but now we have Speakman back, which is awesome. But then Brendan is also 2-0 in that 5th spot. And then what's kind of interesting, at least from my perspective, is Reese has been undefeated in the regular season dating back to all of last year. I'll have to check his... Actually, you know what? We can real fast. Let's just glance into season 9. He was undefeated. Season 8 schedule. I'm just curious, because right now Reese is on a 14-game win streak in the regular season. And week 12, he actually lost to Speakman, week 12 of season 8. So he's on a 14-game win streak right now. And I need to shut that down. I say all that to say that, Reese, you're going down this week. So hopefully I can make that happen. But if not, no, there is no if not. I'm going to make it happen. Reese, you're going down. So you heard it here first. But yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to kind of call attention to, is that I'm going to beat Reese this week. We're both 2-0, and he's on a heck of a win streak, and I am going for gold this year. So you also heard that. I mean, I probably said that in chat before, but I'm trying to win it all this year. So I'm going to beat Eray this week, and that's going to be an awesome win for me and my guys. And if it doesn't happen, again, we're not even going to cross that bridge. We'll talk about that next week if it doesn't happen, but I'm going to win, speaking it into existence. But yeah, those are kind of the standings I wanted to talk about. Everyone else, 1-1, 0-2. We're not really, jostling for playoff position at this point. We're just, it's still so early in the season. There's still so much that's going to happen that it's not really worth, diving too deep into at this point. But that being said, we do have some updated picks from last week. And before we even get into last week, dating back to week 1, Brian and Hobart hadn't played. It was like we pushed it back a little bit. And we didn't have the result when I recorded last week, but now we do. Brian did end up winning that. I did call that in Brian's favor, so I did call that correctly. So after week 1, I was 9-1. 9 correct calls, 1 incorrect call, and week 2 is not as good. So jumping into that real quick, I'm just going to cover it real fast. I called Eray, SB, myself, Zach, Sakuna, Bosch, Selina, Jay, Mike, and Ian. I predicted all of us would win. And again, I'm not really going to, I don't want to go down the list, but I went 5-5. 5 correctly, 5 incorrect. The calls that I made properly, Eray, SB, myself, Bosch, Jay, and that's it. So it wasn't the best week for calls for me. And then the ones that I called incorrectly, the players that blew up my calls are J Wade, Ty, Justin, Brendan, and Dan. You guys blew up my calls, so thanks for nothing. So after 2 weeks, I'm 14-6, 14 correct calls and 6 incorrect calls. So yeah. Before I jump into week 3 picks, do I want to talk about anything that happened over the weekend? Well, I guess there's 2 things. One, Hobart had to drop, which is unfortunate because we don't, you go into a season and you think all right, we got 20 players. We're all excited. We're all pumped. We, make the schedule for 20 players. We have some guys in the background just in case something goes wrong with, any one of the players, any 2, 3 of the players, I suppose. But we always have backups planned. And we always want everything to go perfectly. We always want everything to just go smoothly. These 20 players start the season, these 20 players battle through the season, and we end with 20 players. But Hobart, I think he just had a lot of, IRL stuff going on, taking on a new job, working a lot more hours than anticipated, just had to drop. But now we get Speakman. So Speakman being in is awesome. Speakman's good. Speakman's a competitor. And I still remember dating back to season maybe 4 or 5. Speakman at one point, I was the bottom of the table. I've told this story a million times, but Speakman was at the top. I think he might have been number 1, maybe number 2. But I think he was number 1. And I was at the very bottom. Again, I don't know if I was dead last or if I was second to last, but he was yeah, there's big talk coming from someone at the bottom of the table, something like that. And it got me fired up. And I ended up doing good. I can't remember if it was again season 4 or season 5. I don't know if it was season 5 because I won that year. That'd be a pretty cool story. But I just remember that being a couple years ago where I was Speakman is trash talking me and I'm at the bottom and then I rally and do well. But I thought that was pretty cool. So Speakman's good. He's had his seasons where he's been at the top, and then he's also had his seasons where he's had to fill in. And I think last year was one of those seasons where he ended up making playoffs after filling in as well. So again, I could probably find out if I dug into that a little bit. Actually, why not? Let's just take a look. I think it was last year. If I can find it really quickly, awesome. If not, then I'll keep it moving. See week 4 note. Yeah, Isamu dropped. No, Phil assumed his spot. So Isamu dropped last year. Was it season 8 then? Again, if I find it really quickly, awesome. If not, let's just move on. Yeah, I don't see it. So we'll just move on from that. But yeah, Speakman's here, and Hobart is out. Unfortunately, again, for Hobart dropping, but fortunate to have Speakman ready to step up. So that's cool. And then I think, was it last weekend, there was a weird trade? Was it Ty who was getting a lot of crap for his trade? Let's pull up the sheet. Transactions, weekend 2.5. Yeah, Ty traded Sylveon for Alcremie, which, I mean, I don't even know if it's really debatable, but I think that we all think that Sylveon's a better Pokemon than Alcremie. But I don't know. Ty made the move, and it is what it is. Like, we make moves. I once traded a Milotic for a Zoroark, and that was a bad trade. And I heard about it for a couple years, and it is what it is. You know what I mean? You live and you learn. So Ty may, get all creamy, and it does wonders for him. So let's hope that that's the case. But Reese getting Sylveon, everyone's kind of thinking like Reese is already a really good player. Sylveon's a really good Pokemon. And now they are, together. It's gonna be tough. But we got this though. Reese is going down this week, and then hopefully, he loses a couple more times the regular season. We go into playoffs, and, we can knock him out so he doesn't get his 5th championship. But, again, we got a long way to go before we even start thinking about that stuff. But, yeah, interesting trade. And, again, that's coming from someone who's made an interesting trade or two over my, last 10 years. But, yeah. Good stuff. All right, so now let's just jump into week 3's picks. Again, I'm 14 correct calls, 6 incorrect calls after 2 weeks. And this week, Brian and Mike. I'm going Mike. That's going to be a good match, actually. So Mike just lost to Brendan. And Brendan and Brian get a lot of trash for, do they play? Or are they, watching each other play? And do they work together? And I don't know. Who knows? But Brendan is a good player. Brian, also a good player. I think Jay Wade on stream even typed it out in chat. He was like, yo, Brian is underrated. And I agree. Brian is really good. So Mike going up against Brian, Mike being the defending champ, going up against Brian right after Brendan. That's 2 tough weeks back to back. But I'm going Mike. Again, I'm going to go with the undefeated, or not the undefeated, but I'm going to go with the defending champion because Mike is talented as well. All right, Brendan and Selina. I'm going to go Brendan. Sorry, Selina, but Brendan is, again, he's good. He just knocked off Mike, and Mike is talented. Brendan is really good, so it's going to be tough. And I think you've actually mentioned in chat that it's going to be a tough week for you, but yeah, I'm going to go Brendan in that match. Corey and Justin, I'm going to go Corey. Corey is still a fun team builder, so I'm going to go Corey there. I am playing Erise. I'm going to go with myself. I've mentioned that already. Jay Wade and Ty. Ty is coming off a win. Ty's coming off a win against Sakuna. Jay Wade is also coming off a win, if I'm not mistaken, against, I wanted to say Dan, but no, Zach. So Jay Wade just beat Zach last week, which is a good win. Zach is historically another player that typically finishes with a pretty good record. So Jay Wade coming off a win, Ty coming off a win. I'm going to go with Jay Wade, though, because, again, that's a big win from last week. And I think he's going to try to carry that momentum going forward. So SB and Sakuna. I'm going to go SB, my Season 5 finals opponent. I'm going to go with SB there. Phil and Ian. This is a battle of the brothers. The girls are upstairs yelling. It's okay, though. The battle of the brothers, I'm going to go with Ian. Ian's coming off a loss, so I think he's going to try to correct that. Phil has had, a heck of a start to the season. Who did Phil play week 1? Phil played Erise week 1. He played me in week 2, and now he's got Ian week 3. He's going through the gauntlet right now, but I'm going to go with Ian. And then Speakman with his first game back, playing Dan. Dan is undefeated at this point. I'm going to go with Dan there, as Speakman kind of gets familiar with the team, looks to make some moves and stuff, but I'm going to go with Dan. Zach and Jalen. Zach taking a loss last week, looking to bounce back. I'm going to go with Zach. And then Bosch and Jay. Bosch has actually been playing pretty well. I think he won last week. He did. He beat Jalen, and then he won. No, he took Mike to 2 in week 1, but he did lose. But I'm going to go with Jay. I'm going to go with my fellow Jay in that last matchup for the week. So there we go. I made 10 picks, and we'll see how those turn out next week. But yeah, that's all for my section of the PLC pod, or voices of the PLC week 3. And I hope you guys enjoy. I hope we did have a little bit of input, and I won't know right now, but I will know later today when I compile everything. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in chat. Peace.